Alright, what's good, boys? Zach back here with another video. In today's video, we're going to be going over how I went from 0K to 6.3K a day and the exact ad strategy that I use to also do this. So as you can see right here, this is before we started the store right here on the 8th. And then as you guys can see, 8th through the 26th, which is what I've been running. Boom. 56K in sales. Do a little refresh here. There's the refresh. And as you guys see, if I go to sales right here, we scaled up all the way from the 9th, we're at $450 a day, all the way up to September 21st, doing 6.3K a day, and then we've been doing consistent numbers around that. And then today we're already at 2.9K in sales, and it's only 8 p.m. But without further ado, let's get into this video. I'll do a quick brief of what I'm about to go over before we get into it. So first things I'm going to talk about is kind of what you need to have in set before you do start this. Then we're going to talk about top funnel, middle funnel, and bottom of funnel ads and why they're important. Then I'll give you guys my testing strategy, what else I do after the day 3 testing is over, what I use for scaling, and then what hires you guys need to make after you get past a certain point. So we'll just start right over here. What you need before any of this shit even matters, before you guys are even thinking about running ads, is a good validated product. So like problem solving, instant, etc. You guys know all of that. If you guys don't know, go watch my other YouTube videos on product research. I have a bunch of them on my YouTube channel. So just go watch those if you're still trying to find a good product. The next thing you'll need is a good offer. So like buy one, get one free, buy one, get one 50% off, free gift, etc. Just stuff like that. So this is just the ground rules. This is the ground stuff that you do need before really any of this stuff matters, because if you don't have a good product, it doesn't really matter how you run your ads. All right, so now let's get into top of funnel, middle funnel, and bottom of funnel. So for top of funnel, how I kind of describe this is your customer doesn't know you, but they know that they have a problem. And what you're just trying to do in these top of funnel ads is convey the problem that they have to them and how your product is the solution to their problem. This is just your really broad audience. This audience will be around 75% to like 70% of your total audience that you're getting on your ads. The next thing we'll go over is middle funnel. So seen you before but need more info to buy. So maybe they need to know about the product. This is where your middle of funnel products are a lot of reviews, like testimonial reviews, videos going super in depth about your product, what it does. You're driving more in on key pain points. You're really digging into their key pain points and problems that this person is having. In the middle funnel, you really want to be targeting one specific customer avatar. So one customer. You don't want to be on top of funnel where you're testing like 1 to 5 different types of customer angles. On your middle funnel ads, you're really just trying to hone in on one customer. So whatever you found out of here, out of your winning angles, that's normally where the middle funnel starts to come into play, because top of funnel, this is where you're testing like 1 to 5 different angles, and then you'll kind of narrow them down, and then you'll have 1 to 2 winning angles that you're actually trying to go after. And once you have that, that's when you start building out more of this middle of funnel and bottom of funnel style of ads. Let me erase this real quick, get this off the screen. Now let's go into bottom of funnel. So in bottom of funnel, the customer knows of your brand, but they just need a push to buy. So like Black Friday sale, Christmas, Cyber Monday is another big one that you guys can use, especially in this time during Q4. They're just looking for that sale to push them over the edge. So like if you're running like a Black Friday sale where you're giving like 50% off your product, this is going to push them over the edge and convert them to buyers. Just stuff like that. Image ads work really good in here. This is like where also very salesy videos work, where you're really just pushing, like they already know who you are. So like if you're just telling them, boom, our brand is running a 50% off Black Friday sale, then you show off the product, this and that, like really just like bottom of funnel, you're being super salesy. All right, so something I want to go over first of why this funnel is so important before we get into the rest of the stuff. I've talked about this in past videos, but just for an example, right? Let's say you're selling, your product price is $100, right? And you're getting around 1,000 customers a day on your website. Or you have like 1,000 customers that are coming, right? So basically, when you get those 1,000 customers here, saying you have like a good funnel and everything, about 50% of them might buy from your top of funnel. So right here, that's if you have 50% of the 1,000 people to buy, that's 50K. So you got 50K right here. But also you have another 50% of people leaving and going down here. Now you have another 50% of people who just left your website because they didn't convert from the top of funnel. That's another 50K that you don't have right now, right? You don't have this 50K. This isn't yours. But this is where the middle funnel and bottom funnel comes in. So now this 50% of people now gets funneled into your middle funnel ads. So now I've seen you before, but they need more info to buy. So now you're hitting them with those style of ads. You're really pushing testimonial reviews, giving social proof that a lot of people have liked your product before. You're showing off more of the features and benefits of your product. So now let's say you did all that, right? You have a proper funnel built out. Now you have another 50% out of that people who just came in. So like, let's say this 50%, this is just 500 people. Now you have another 50% of those people coming in, which is 250 people. And those people are buying. Now that's another 25K you just added because you have this funnel in place. And then same thing down here. You have another 250 people who got away. That's another 25K that just got away from you. But that's where you funnel them back into the bottom of funnel ads. Now this is really where you're pushing your sales. They know of your brand. They just need that little bit of push to buy. So boom, now you funneled them into your bottom of funnel. Now boom, now you got another 25K because all those people buy. Obviously this is really abrupt numbers. You're never going to convert 100% of the people. But you guys understand why this is so important, because instead of just collecting the 50K up here and letting this 50K, that's both down here, just disappear into the abyss, you're capturing all of it. So now you're getting this 100K in revenue instead of just making 50K in revenue. So this is why it's really important to structure out all of this. All right, but now let's get into my testing strategy. So the testing strategy that I use is just a broad CBO, USA only, on $150 a day. And what you're doing when you guys are testing is just rip content, bro. Like I know a lot of people say like, oh, that's bad, like you shouldn't be ripping content every test. I mean, this is what like Calo's for, bro. Like literally we're just getting data if this product is good or not. That's the only thing rip content's for. Like obviously you can't scale a brand to $1 million a month with just rip content. But like I say right here, this is just a testing strategy. So what you're just gonna do is you're gonna take 10 to 12 of those videos and just fucking rip them. Just straight up, one-to-one rip them. If other people are already running, change up the middle a little bit. Don't really fuck with the hooks because that's the reason why they're performing. The hook is the most important part of the video. You guys already know that. So just chop up the middle a little bit so Facebook doesn't pick it up if there are other people running. So now what I kind of do and how I kind of structure out my ad account just to keep everything super simple is I have one ad per ad set. So basically, if this is my CBO campaign, down here I have my first ad set, and then in that ad set I have ad 1. And that's all I have. I just have the one ad. And then it would be same thing here. For ad set 2, I would put ad 2 in it. It's just very simple. That's just how I structure it. It just keeps everything kind of organized and just neat, just so I can see it. I know some people do put like ad 2 and shit like that, but I don't. I just like to do it this way. I just think it performs better. Maybe that's superstition. That's just the way I've always been done. That's just the way I've been taught. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is testing 3 to 5 different angles when you are testing. So right here, I just have a bunch of different angles from this like pet probiotics. I won't get into too much of this. One's just like if they have like loose poop, and this one's like itchy skin, sensitive tummy, bad breath, stress and anxiety. Like basically, those are just the main 3 angles that I found for this. I literally just did a quick ChatGPT search for this product just because it's example purposes. But what you want to do is you want to be finding 3 to 5 different marketing angles that you guys can be hitting on your product. Because like I say down here, we are testing, boys. We are fucking testing. So you want to make sure you're trying out a bunch of different angles. Like if I just tried this top angle and let's say this top angle just didn't hit, now this entire fucking product is cooked because I didn't even test any of these different angles. Like who knew this one could have been a fucking $1 million fucking angle and I just never even tested it. You just never know. So in the testing phase, just know we are testing. So just make sure to test 3 to 5 different angles. And I'll kind of break it down like how it'll look. So like each one of these are the angles. Like this is angle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are all the angles that we are testing. And basically what you're just going to do is have 2 ads per angle. So you have like ad 1 for this angle, ad 2 for this angle, blah, 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 so forth. And what you guys want to do is, so once you guys launch these ads, do not touch it for 3 days. Just let it cook, let it sit. You can do some like website optimizations if you guys see some like insane shit in your stats, like you're getting like a 3% add to cart or just stuff like that. Obviously, you're going to need to make some changes in your funnel, but at least for the ad account side, just don't touch anything, don't bump spend, don't do anything, just don't touch anything for 3 days and just wait. And then after those 3 days, what you're going to figure out is maybe this one sucked, but this one was a winner, this one was a winner, and this one was a winner. So what you're basically going to do is you're just going to start breaking down and doubling down on what worked. So I kind of drew out a big example down here for like if all of the angles were like decent. You just want to find what works and double down. So basically what you're just going to be doing is each ad that you make, you're going to create 3 different styles of hooks for it, because this is giving this one single ad 3 different chances to perform. I'll kind of break down why that matters. Like let's say like hook 1 didn't perform, hook 2 didn't perform, but hook 3 performed. Now you know that you can go with hook 3 and then you can just replicate that and like what you did in this one to make it work. And then like same thing here, if this one worked and these 2 didn't work, now you know. And it's also good for being able to cut angles. Because let's say like number 3, right, got a couple sales, like this ad had like 2 sales, this ad had 1 sale, but it was one of the lower performing ones in your testing campaign. But now you're really breaking it out and seeing what works. And now let's say like, oh, hook 1 fails, hook 2 fails, hook 3 fails, this one fails, this one fails, this one fails. Now you know that this entire angle is just cooked and you can move on and you no longer have to keep on testing that angle because the angle doesn't work. Now you can really find what's working and double down. That's like the whole point of this part of the funnel. You're just doubling down and finding out what works. And if I didn't say it before, like this is after day 3 testing. So this is like after you got all your data, you validated that you can continue to scale, you're profitable after day 3. Then this is really where you're trying to find, all right, what the fuck's working and how can I take this brand to the next level? What pain points? What marketing angles? What am I really trying to double down on? That's what we find out in here. And normally this, you'll probably be running this, just going over and over, split testing this, really trying to find what works, probably from like day 4 to day 10, could even take you longer, like 12 to 15 days. Or whenever you get up and really figure out what works and you get to like 2 to 3K ad spend a day, this is where this next part of the funnel comes in, which is a scaling campaign. I do want to emphasize like when you guys should start a scaling campaign so you don't end up getting in a spot where you absolutely fuck yourself. Only do a scaling campaign when you have multiple winning creatives and you have systems in place to keep on pumping out more winning ads. Because in this ASC scaling campaign, which is what I do for scaling, ads start to fatigue a lot. And like I'll just draw out a quick little example. So like this is time and this is dollars that it's bringing in, right? How every ad will start off, how every winning ad starts off, it'll get this little spike, it will peak up here for a little bit, and then it will fall off like this. And this happens a lot, and this happens really fast in the ASC campaign. So if you don't have systems in place where either you yourself or you and your team, like your editor and your creative strategist, can't come in and continue, let me change this color, and can't come in and continue and underline these ads and continue to pump out new winning ads that are going to keep on coming in and overtaking the spots, so you don't end up getting in a point where, let me change my color again, where you get down here and your product's just cooked because now you're at like a 0.8 ROAS and you're spending like 3, 5, fucking 10K a day on this campaign and you're absolutely just lighting money on fire because you can't get a new winning adding campaign and you're just so obsessed with this product. You want to keep on trying, but you can't do that. Then you're going to get fucked and you're just going to burn money. So it is really fucking important to have systems in place and to have the ability to keep on pumping out winning ads time and time again. Otherwise, you will get to a point where your brand will die. So that's just something to keep in mind with this. So normally when I switch, it'll be around from 2 to 3K a day in ad spend, and you have multiple winners. So like 2 to 4 winners that are just fucking printing cash. All right, so basically how I set up the ASC campaign is this is just a scaling campaign, and then your CBO, which is over here, your CBO is just your testing campaign. So every time you guys make a new ad, you're throwing it back into this CBO campaign down here, because this is now just your testing CBO campaign, and then this is your scaling campaign. And every time you breed a winner off of this CBO testing campaign, you're just dumping it back into the ASC ecosystem. Obviously, when you start, you'll have your 4 to maybe 5 winners, right? You'll basically just throw all of those into here, and then this will already be at like a $2K a day spend. And then normally you want to drop this down, maybe be spending like $1,000 to $2,000. Like let's just for an example, right? Let's say you're at like 10K a day. You're spending 10K a day on ads. For this campaign should be around 2K a day. And then your ASC scaling campaign should probably be around 8K a day. 8K a day. Obviously, you want your scaling campaign to have majority spend. That's just kind of like obvious. But basically what you're doing, like when you're testing creatives and just gearing up for this, is you're just launching new creatives every single day into this testing CBO campaign, and then when you breed a winner, you're just throwing it back into here. And then obviously you'll just bump ad spend as you guys start to scale in this campaign. Keep on throwing more ads in here. Keep on testing angles down here that you can eventually throw up in here. This is literally just the winning ads campaign. So whatever's winning, we throw into the ASC. That's basically, it's a really simple structure. That's basically just how I do it. The last thing I'm gonna go over in this video is hires you need to make. So once you start getting around the point where you're going to be adding a ASC campaign and you're at like 2 to 3K a day in ad spend, you're going to start needing to make some hires if you haven't already made a couple. Like this is one that you probably should have already made if you don't have one already, which is the customer support VA. Basically what these guys are going to be doing is just responding to comments on like your Facebook ads, Instagram ads, also responding to your emails, just all customer support. That's basically what these guys are doing. Where I find them, because you guys probably want to know, I just find these guys on Upwork. Very simple. You can get one for pretty cheap. Just make sure that they're good, make sure that they're doing their job, and then pay these guys well when they do work hard. But the next thing that you guys need, especially once you hit this spot, this is where you're going to start needing to make some of these bigger plays, is getting an editor. So basically with an editor, they're just going to be editing up your ads. So basically you just send them in like the clips that you want. Send them in like your creative strategy that you are trying to make with these ads. When you hire these guys, you're going to want to see them make a couple ads for you. Like if when you guys are like hiring these guys, if you say, all right, I want you to make me like a batch of like 5 ads before I take you on and actually pay you. And if they say no, they're not going to do it, they're not going to work for free, do not work with these guys, bro. Do not work with those people who are going to say that. Because they're working for you. Like, you have the massive brand that's giving them a very big opportunity to come edit for them. Because they're going to be offered bonuses. They're going to be getting paid by you for every single ad they make. You are in control here. So if they won't show you that they can make 5 ads, they can prove to them or prove to yourself that they are good at what they do. Don't hire them. Keep on looking. Again, you can find these guys on Upwork. You can also find them on like LinkedIn is another good one. You can find them on X. All those things, really good spots to find these editors. All right, so the last thing you guys should make a hire for, you guys don't need this at like 2 to 3K a day in ad spend, but when you start to scale up and like you're just getting a ton of fucking overload and work and shit, getting a creative strategist is very good as well. These two will basically work hand in hand, and this will just help you pump out ads 10 times faster if you have a creative strategist and an editor. I should kind of go over like how much I pay these guys. For the editors, normally it's around $7 to $9 per ad they make for me. And then creative strategists, normally I pay them around like 2K to 4K a month plus bonuses. Bonuses are very important. You always want to make sure you're giving your people bonuses. Otherwise, they will stop working for you, because if you're not going to pay your people, they're going to go somewhere else. So I put down here, to be honest, you really only need this at high scale, like 5 to 10K a day, like we just went in. And then how to get these guys, most of the time, I just be like poaching from like LinkedIn companies. You can just like scroll on LinkedIn, look for teams, and then like look for like a creative strategist team. And then you can just find people in there and be like, hey, I'll pay you 4K a month if you come work for my brand. It'll only be like this amount of hours a week, because obviously these guys aren't working full time for you, but they're still putting in a good amount of time in your ads. So be like, I'll pay you 2 to 4K a month if you come work for me, and they can just keep their job over there as well. So it's not like you're completely stealing them from the other person. Yeah, boys, that's basically my breakdown on how I went from 0 to 6.3K a day with Facebook ads. It's very simple. Like, I like to make media buying very easy. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated like some of these other people make it seem. Really, with how good Meta's AI is these days, you really just need this broad CBO. And like I said, USA only in here. Like once you get over here, this is where you can start adding like Canada, UK, and like Australia. However you spell that, Australia. That's when you can start adding like the big four once you start scaling more. But first, just to start with, USA only, because if you can't compete in the USA market, you're never going to have as big of a brand as you want. Because I know all of you guys, the people who follow me, you're not just looking for pump and dumps. You guys actually want to build something real. So if you can't compete in the USA market, it's going to be hard to do that. But yeah, boys, this is going to wrap up the video. I also have something important to share for you guys. I just released a free course on branded dropshipping where I basically just break down all of this, how to go from product research all the way to scaling up your first store to 30K a month. So if you guys do want access to that free course, it'll be the first link in the description. Also down there will be my free Discord if you want to join that as well. We are growing really fast right now. There's a lot of boys in there always talking about like e-com, random shit, life, whatever. So if you guys do want to join that, it'll be down in the description as well. Yeah, boys, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you learned something from this. Take this into the next time you test a product and just save yourself all the headache. Just really, media buying is meant to be easy. Structure it like this, and then once you get to scale, just ASC campaign. It's really simple. Try not to make media buying too hard because it really doesn't have to be, especially when Meta's AI is this insane. But yeah, boys, again, thank you all for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.